Hi, everyone. Carmine Didisco here from the Launch Network. We've got an awesome show today on Get Retail Ready with Mr. Jim Debetta. Usually we have guests on. We've been covering a lot of ground, a lot of retail stuff, a lot of online sales, Amazon, Facebook, all that kind of stuff. But today we thought we'd bring it back a little bit, get down to the roots of what Jim is the best at, and talk about what's happening in the world of retail. Let's bring him on, Mr. Jim Debetta. What's going on, Jim?
Hey, good morning. I know it feels weird to have to just talk to you. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
I don't know what I have to say to you, but I'm sure we can find something to talk about.
Yeah.
Right? We've had Carlos, our Amazon king on for the past 3 weeks, and we've had all kinds of guests. So it's a little weird to not have somebody. We were going to have a guest this morning, but we just couldn't work the time thing out. So, but that's okay. We'll get. I think we also have Chris Guerrero coming back on. I'm not even sure I told you. We have him coming back on in April. Oh. So next month, I'll have to, obviously, I should probably have told you that. Surprise. Yeah. We have a guest. So, Chris, we all know Chris Guerrero very well. Made in the USA. He's our Made in the USA guy with stuff, amongst other things. Good Morning America. And then because I'm going to be on his show, and then we're doing like reciprocal shows or something. So, you're on mine, good. I'm on yours, kind of, whatever.
Well, it's good, man. There's always so much happening. It's great to have a different opinion or different experiences within a different show, because really throwing those different ideas, it just kicks off people thinking more. There's so much to do, so much to experience in this world of innovation. I don't even like saying invention anymore, but the world of innovation.
Well, like with having Carlos on, the last few weeks, and I know I learned a bunch of new things, more like that inside stuff that you could Google all you want about Amazon, how it works. But when you get somebody like Carlos on, who literally says from the inside, this is exactly what happens. And he sort of dispels all the myths, the rumors, the chatter. He breaks it down and says, this is exactly what goes on, and this is how it works. And for anybody, even for us, that we're learning things. But can you imagine if you're just getting into this business as an inventor and you want to learn about Amazon? That 3-part series is like literally a must for people to listen to. So, you're right. There's always things to talk about and get different perspectives and just information from people. You and I think we know everything, but we obviously don't know everything. So. No. But we're pretty good, right? We jack of all trades, master of a bunch or some. But but having Pete guest on it, and even other inventors, which we're working on lining up, just hearing people's stories and how they actually succeed, other than us just saying this is how you do it. But when someone gets on that actually has done it, makes it a little more real for people.
Yeah, no doubt. And just, I know we're going to talk a little bit, just real. Yeah, Carlos is a cool dude, man, right? You can't rattle that guy. He just sits back there at that mic and just whatever questions you had, he's like, boom, boom, boom. Like that's nothing.
He's sort of like, he's a guru. He's also a fixer. He just knows what to do. He can look at an Amazon listing and just say, here's what's wrong. Here's what you need to do. Here's the next step. And he implements it, and that's what you need. In this business, time is money, like a lot of businesses. So he sort of just kickstarts it for people and gets it going. So all right, well, let's jump into what we're going to talk about today. And I think what I want to talk about, because it just keeps coming up again, and it usually does in the beginning of a year, is the state of retail. What's going on with the retail stores that we all shop in? Obviously, online's a big thing for everybody to shop on websites. But we're going to get into sort of just a summary of what's going on and what inventors should expect and where they should be placing their emphasis when it comes to the actual selling part of their product. So, all right. So let's start with how things are. And I think how things are at retail, because I get this question a lot as well. People say, Jim, is this a good time for me to get started? Should I wait? Is Corona still affecting retail? Well, that if I present a product, are they going to not look at it? And the answer is, for a while, even since in the fall, retailers have been trying anyway, and most have gotten there, getting back to normal. They're not just pushing Corona-related things. They're trying to sell all their normal things. And what I have seen at least from the buyers that I talk to and email with new products, is it's business as usual for them. I mean, I'm not sure what you're seeing, Carmine, with all the interaction you get and our interaction with developing products and making them and selling them, but are you getting that same sense?
Yeah, they're pushing business as usual. They really want people to come around and realize they're there, they're open, they're ready to sell product. Obviously, online is still booming, but what I get from the retail buyers is just as you said, they're like, come on into the brick and mortar stores.
Yeah. So when I go shopping, it doesn't, if you didn't know there was a pandemic going on and you, other than, okay, take masks away, you really wouldn't know. I mean, the store shelves are all stocked with everything. It doesn't matter what it is. Any major chain looks the same. It really does. So that's a good thing for everybody. That's good for the retailers. That's good for consumers because you can basically get everything you want or normally would want. And if you're an inventor and you're putting out something new, there's a place for it. So I've been sort of taking a loose survey or assessment of what's going on with retail. I get access to these retail reports, industry reports about retailers, their sales, what they're doing, what's selling, and all the big ones, the Costco's, the Walmarts, the Targets, the Walgreens, Home Depots, all the main ones, they're doing really, really well. Their sales are great. They're earning, their profit margins and profits are skyrocketing because people, when they feel uncomfortable or nervous, like a lot of people, you go and gravitate towards things that you know that you're comfortable with. It's like a brand thing, right? Like if something's going on with you personally or in your family, and you like familiarity. You want to, so people, it's like Campbell's soup or that kind of thing. You sort of Kellogg's cereals. You go to the things that you grew up with, that make you feel good. And that's what a lot of people will do when they're in a situation that's outside of themselves. And these retailers know that. And so they continuously push the things that we always have enjoyed and love. And at the same time, they still need new things. But, if you're an inventor, and this is the overall message, if whatever it is that you have, it doesn't matter what category, it could be clothing, food, consumer electronics, sporting goods, craft products, pet products, or organization products, anything. There is a place for your product, whether it's in their store or on their website. You should absolutely, especially as things really come back, you don't want to miss the boat. You want to be a part of that. And Carmine, I know you can speak to this. If somebody comes to us with a new idea, by the time it's actually developed, worked out, prototyped, manufactured, it's a 6 to 9 month process or more, right?
Yeah, there's no doubt. And a lot of times, an inventor, even myself, we want to jump ahead. We want to get things going. A lot of times I have a product that comes to me and the inventor thinks it's ready, like here, we just need to manufacture it. But in reality, there are so many different tweaks and changes and updates, colors and packaging, and just going back and forth with the manufacturer and engineers and designers. As you said, Jim, several months can go by. And there's no reason that you or I don't want to get the product out to market, but we have to make sure it's correct, functions right, it's going to operate right, because, you don't want to have an issue after you make, 5,000, 3,000. So yeah, there's no rushing. You have to be the most impatient, patient person.
Well, like we have a product called Brew Chai that we've been working on. It's been, I bet you it's probably almost a year and a half or something. And in its entirety, it's really not a very complicated thing, although it's very particular. And the inventor, Parag, he is very particular about the details, and that's okay. We tell inventors, like, you should want to be mindful or careful about how your product goes out, how it looks to people, how it functions. You don't want people returning it or creating a bad brand by making something that doesn't work. But on your side, Carmine, you're looking at it and saying, hey, there's certain things that just need to be done technically. And then I'm looking at it and saying, hey, Carmine, look, I'm talking to retailers. They want this thing, hurry up. And then the inventor is in the middle saying, well, I understand we need to get it out there and I want to start making money, but I don't like that. I don't like this. And can you change that? But every little change, it's not just Carmine, you go to the factory, say, hey, can you just change that? And then tomorrow afternoon it's done. It could be weeks, and it is weeks for every seemingly little thing. And in this particular case, we know that Bruchai is going to be a great product. It's been worked out. But we've been making changes for 6 to 9 months alone, never mind just getting a product out. But the retailers understand this. And the whole point of us saying this is that the retailers need stuff, they want stuff. And if you want to be in stores in 2022, you need to start this right now. You need to get products in the hands of a Carmine so we can get it flushed out and we can get it into a factory and they could create molds and send prototypes. And the first prototype never works the way you want it to. And you just build that into your time. But, you know, as I'm looking at the major retail chains and tying all this back in, all the big ones that we all shop at are doing great. And that's where the volume is. People say, well, look, you know, online is so big and Amazon's so huge. And it's true. And more people are going online, but still, and I know we'll get an updated stat after the first quarter is wrapped up, but I'm telling you, it's still probably more than 80% of products are still bought physically when people walk into a store, despite how big the internet is. And even if it dropped to 70%, still 7 out of 10 things that we buy are bought in the store. And so that means that's, if you get a purchase order from a Walgreens, it's going to be a 6-figure purchase order because they have thousands of stores. So even if they just put a few pieces in per store, they're going to need many thousands or tens of thousands of your product. And unless your product's a dollar item, the dollar amount is going to be significant. Whereas if they put your product up on Walgreens.com, they can still sell a lot, but they're not going to sell 1,000 a day. I mean, if they do, that's awesome, but that's not the likelihood. So you still need to be pursuing the retailers, and you definitely want to be online and selling on websites. The balance is doing both. It's selling to everybody wherever you can. And that's sort of the best way to go about it.
Yeah. Is there, and I know you probably get this question a lot, is there a balance between, you know, I have this cool product, I'm selling it on Amazon, on eBay, on Etsy or whatever. Can I still be showing it to retailers? And, you know, and what's their take on that if they start searching for it?
Yeah, the only thing anybody cares about is who is selling it for more or less on their website versus mine. So if I'm selling something to Walgreens and it's in the store and it's selling for $19.95, and then they discover that it's up on Amazon for $14.95, what do you think the buyers at Walgreens are going to say? They're not going to be happy, because if somebody does any kind of search, and they're going to, even if they still shop in a physical store, they may go online first and sort of just see where they can get it. I do that. Yep. Hey, I need this. Where do I go? And a lot of times I don't want to buy it on Amazon because I want to go and touch and feel it and see it. And I also want to have a place so I can, if it's within a couple miles, I can get it right now. Even though Amazon is quick, it's much quicker to drive 8 minutes, get it. And if I don't like it, I can return it all within the same day. That's still not possible on an Amazon. So it's instant gratification. But you have to have a strategy. And this is a whole nother discussion, but you have to make sure that your pricing is sort of similar across the board. So if you're selling something on Amazon for $14.95, it better be around that at the retail chains, or they're going to get upset and the customers are just going to buy everything from Amazon. But if you're just selling Amazon, all your eggs are in that one proverbial basket. And if things don't pan out on Amazon, you may have missed opportunities with the major chains who also have very prolific websites. I mean, I'm quite sure Walmart, Target, and all these, they sell tons of stuff online. They may not do what Amazon does, but then again, your product can get lost in the millions of things on Amazon. Walgreens just sells sort of those things in their world. So they don't have 8 gazillion things on their website. You know, they may only have 8,000 things or 80,000 things on their website. So I think you just have to have a pricing strategy that doesn't upset everybody. Not always easy, but that's something you have to think about before you launch your product, instead of just, hey, I'm going to just sell it and hope for the best. That's important.
That doesn't work. I've tried that. It doesn't work.
No. Somebody's going to get upset.
Yeah.
And you don't want that. And if a retailer gets that upset, and they'll cut you. They'll say, forget it. we're not doing business with you.
Yeah, what I see too, and I don't want people to think even online selling isn't cheap. Amazon is not a low cost platform. I mean, if you really want to be, have a performing product, you have to buy ads, you have to have a site up there. There's a lot of tricks and keywords and all that stuff, and that's what was great about what Carlos was talking about. But what I see, and you probably do it too, I'll do a lot of research on products, especially when we get a new product in. I'll go to stores and I'll do research, is I see people looking at a product and then they're doing a search right there in front of the product to see where they can get it cheaper.
Yeah, of course. And you're right. Amazon was never that way. Amazon used to just be a book and accessories seller. I used to sell them when I had my sport optics company. I used to sell them book lights, and I only gave them $1,000 line of credit because I was worried that they wouldn't make it. I mean, could you imagine? I literally was worried. I mean, I used to talk directly to like accounts payable, and they had a handful of buyers. This is back in the 90s. And literally that's all they sold. And so they were no different than selling any other retail. They've morphed into this marketplace thing that I guess sort of, well, if you think about it, really eBay was kind of the first marketplace, right? Except they were selling things that were used versus new, but the model was there. Amazon came in, took over, and now Amazon is more or less just a marketplace for everything. And so Amazon itself isn't, I mean, they have some of these 5-star, these Amazon stores that are kind of cool. You walk in, they have the best-selling stuff in the physical store, but not really a retailer. They're just they're a marketplace. It's like a catch-all, do-all for everything under the sun. But yeah, it's definitely, it's a different thing. But a lot of people ask me, Carmen, like, how are particular retailers doing? And I think just quickly to categorize it, the mass merchants, as we know them, the Targets and the Walmarts, the ones that sort of sell everything like the way Amazon does, they're doing the best. They're the ones that everyone continued to shop at for all their go-to stuff for the past year. But retailers like department stores, a lot of specialty retailers are having a hard time. The Macy's of the world, you could still sell them and they're still trying to find ways to be different. But I was just reading, actually, it was just yesterday, it was on LinkedIn. Someone said, like, Toys R Us is at it again. Like, they're trying to, last year they tried to revive, somebody came in, bought the brand after they had shut all their stores a few years ago. They bought the brand and they tried this past year opening up a couple of locations in certain cities. And I remember posting saying, there's just no way. They're not going to do it because they're so far behind. Target sells toys, Walmart sells toys, Amazon sells toys. We're going to make it an experience. It flopped. It never worked. Now somebody else has come in and bought the brand and said they're going to try to do it again. And I was just like yesterday, I was like, no, They're going to keep making the same mistake. I said, just buy the brand and just take it online. Why try to set up a retail thing that could cost hundreds of millions of dollars to maintain, ultimately with a chain? Do it like, other brands have done. I mean, like even Shopper Image, they just license the brand. Now you just go into retailers and it's just another brand. They sell Shopper Image branded products. Like, why not just make a line of Toys R Us branded? Like you see FAO Schwartz did that this Christmas time. I don't know if you were out in stores, but every retailer, every one of them had FAO Schwartz branded toys, whatever, and any toy. And it was smart because it's a nostalgia sort of thing. It was more of a mid to high end, product. Everyone knows FAO Schwartz. It was like an iconic New York City toy store, and that I'd been to many times living in New York. That was a smart move. I don't know how they did at Holiday with that brand, but their stuff was everywhere. I bought a few FAO Schwartz things. Nice packaging. It looks expensive and gifty. They really did a nice job with that. I think it's almost like, I think that's what Toys R Us should do. Instead of setting up these stores within a store, we see this model now where, Disney is doing these store within a store concept at Target. And we've been to a Target where they have it's a whole section. I don't know if you've seen it. It's like you come in the store and you just sort of go to the left, and it's literally like it's not like it's completely closed off. But you could see it's clearly an outlined section, and they're selling old, little clothes and Disney toys. And that's how instead of the Disney stores, which have been sort of falling off, they're trying to just make little stores within a store. And we're seeing that with brands, but the department stores and places like that, that's what they're trying to do to sort of stay alive in a world where people just don't really shop at department stores like they used to.
Yeah, well, I can't even imagine the cost involved, as you said, of having these big square foot stores, and you're not getting the foot traffic, and you're just watching those dollar signs go out the door every day. Yeah, I can see conglomeration, bringing these products in. Now, of course, Disney probably, charge, takes your thumbprint and charge you $50 just to get into the Target section. They're such killers.
Yeah, I mean, look, nothing's off the table, I don't think, anymore.
Disney. Hey, real quick, just to get off subject, Disney must have got killed during this pandemic thing, because all their stuff is made in China. I mean, between the tariffs and the taxes and the shipping and all the stuff, I mean, they must have been hurting with product.
Oh yeah, and like a lot of people, and when you rely on that, and you have a store that's basically everything is from one particular country, things get slowed up, backlogged, held up at customs, factories were closing. That's a killer. And I mean, Disney's been having a hard time with their stores for years anyway. Add in something like this, and it just sort of takes them out. And they're closing. They just announced recently they were closing more stores. Disney was. And you're going to see this. You're going to see this with a lot of these specialty stores. I kind of think of like when you go to the mall, a lot of those mall stores are closing. And I've seen where malls are now taking a lot of the space and they're turning them into apartments and restaurants. And they're actually places people are living. So, yeah. So like, I mean, if you look at a Macy's or a Nordstrom's, they're huge stores. They're multi-level. So they're basically gutting them, turning them into like apartment or condo complexes. And it's sort of like a self-contained community. So you have the anchor stores are like homes or condos. And then in the middle, there'll be some shops and there'll be restaurants. And you can basically have this whole way to live, because the mall owners are losing money because people are going out of business. They have a lot of vacancies. And they're like, how do we fill the vacancies when retail isn't a growing thing? It's sort of like it's in the hands of a handful of giant retailers. And that's what they're doing. So if if you're selling, yeah, I mean, but it's smart, I guess.
Just don't tell my daughter. She always says she wants to live at the mall.
Well, that's it. Well, she can be first in line.
I want to live here.
That's like literally, she will never have to leave the mall. I mean, literally, you won't have to. And if they put in just like a doctor and a dentist and I don't know, a couple other things, you wouldn't have to leave. I mean, really. So you could just drop her off, Carmine, but that may be it. You'll never see her.
Oh my God, that is crazy. I mean, how many people had kids that said, we want to live at the mall now? It's a reality.
Yeah, be careful what you wish for, because it's coming. And that's just a sign of where things are, that retail is changing. It's not going away. I mean, people should know that not in our lifetime is the traditional brick and mortar retailer going away. The smart ones just reinvent themselves. Look at Target and all these, they have, curbside delivery. You park in a parking spot, they bring your stuff out. They're keeping your business, but I still like walking into Target. I like seeing what's in the store. And a lot of people do. Even we always say, if our kids still like walking into a store, then stores will be around. If there's no demand for it, then I guess it'll go away, and it's sort of dictated by how people are.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's crazy how things adapt, and we don't even know how many things were tried before they adapt something that partially works. But when you're talking about that much square footage, that much property, things like that, you have to make sure something's happening. I mean, all over the country. I mean, I drive past malls that are just desolated.
Yeah, and it's because it's all the retailers that work, and it's not because of Corona. Corona just sort of ended it. Like if you had a weak business and you were in debt, and these retailers that just weren't doing well before, those are the ones. It's no surprise that the ones that are still left standing are the ones that were doing well before. And there's plenty of retailers, there's plenty of stores, but shopping has changed. There's more outdoor malls and experience places where there's more restaurants and it's almost like the mall has been reinvented. There's a place out here called the Avenue Shops, and it's sort of just an outdoor shopping center. It's a complex, and I guess in a small way it resembles like an outlet. People go to outlets, but it's not outlet stores. It's just normal stores, and it's not nearly as big, and it's not just Ralph Lauren and the ones you always see in an outlet or Skechers, they just have a few major retailers, and they have a nice restaurant, and then an ice cream shop or like a yogurt store, and then they have more retailers, and they're small. They're kind of just woven into the community. They're not like you have to get on a highway and go to them. And that's kind of how retail is going these days. Smaller stores, smaller footprint, and the Targets and Walmarts and Costco's of the world, they're always going to be around because they sell all the basics and they do it well. But they also go online, and you can get stuff online, and they have apps, and they're just smart. They've been smart. So if you're an inventor, you really almost have to just sort of keep doing what we've been doing for years, which is you call on the big retailers. You want to get online and sell to those retailers' websites. Amazon's always an option, of course, for everybody or most anybody. And there's other just pure play websites that just do stuff. But selling a product is selling a product is selling a product. It's whether even if you sell it on your own website, humans still want to try on clothes. They want to eat at restaurants. They don't want to just be on their phones or laptops ordering stuff all the time. They want to get out. My kids want to get out. Your kids want to get out. You and I want to get out. And if we're all still doing that, and Corona has shown us that when you get locked up and you can't have access to those things, how much more you appreciate being able to actually walk into a store and go shopping.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt about it. We only have a few minutes left. I do get a question sometimes from an inventor, innovators, guys that have ideas. And we know that, even myself, multiple ideas for inventions. Is it better to create a product line or a brand as you progress, or sometimes is it better to have products in all different types of markets for retailers? Anyway? What do they look for?
Yeah, I mean, there's that whole thing online where people always pose the thing like, you shouldn't, retailers don't buy single products, or retailers don't want to work with inventors that just sell one thing. And that sort of goes off that. And the answer is, of course, they'll buy one thing. If they think it's going to be the greatest next thing, they don't care if you have a line of stuff. They'll put that one thing on, and they'll even put it up online and test it and see how it does. But I think if you're an inventor and you have multiple products, I mean, there's no reason why you can't sell in different arenas, different retailers, you could sell some stuff in stores. You could sell just some things on Amazon. You could do both. It's all about strategy. It's all just about looking at what you have and seeing where things can fit, and then just deciding where things should go.
Yeah, no doubt. And obviously do it slowly, do one product, get it going, bring somebody on like yourself, Jimmy, to help out with that distribution. There's a lot of things that people don't realize when they get interest from a retailer. That's when things really get interesting. And it takes a lot of work to get registered with the retailer, right?
Oh, yeah. And it does. And so, yes. And I always tell people, I say the same thing. Focus on, a lot of inventors have more than one idea brewing in their head. And and as soon as they tell me about the first one, they want to start talking to me about the second and third. And I said, listen, just stay here. Let's get this one thing developed, made. I said, because if you focus on everything, you're never going to be able to focus well on one thing. And so you sort of lose when you try to tackle 5 things at once. Get one product out, learn the process, get through it, sell a few pieces. And you've been through it. Now work on a second thing, and you'll find that it goes much faster. It's more efficient. It's easier, and you'll have more success that way.
Yeah. All good stuff, man. This is good stuff. So what else you got going on? You have any products you want to talk about? We got a couple minutes left, or or what's happening?
Spirit of non-disclosure, we don't divulge, but you and I are going to be working on a new, I guess we'll call it a personal massager type product. You don't even know about it as much yet. You're going to learn.
That's the surprise.
You got an email. So again, somebody that kind of held off a little bit because of Corona and just had personal things and professional things that sort of prevented her from getting started, but she's ready to go. So we'll have, and again, products like this, personal care. It's really important during these times. People take care of yourself, right? Yeah. And it makes you more aware. And a couple of other things are brewing. And yes, I'm going to be reaching out this week, Carmine, to get some inventors on. We've had a lot of industry people on our show, which is good because people learn a ton it's free advice, whereas they pay hundreds or thousands of dollars to get the information that is being said on this show. But we're going to get a couple of inventors on, people who can get on and tell people not only their story, but that they can see that it's real, that you can succeed. These are everyday people like us that will be on the show, that will say, look, it was not easy. It took me forever and a day, and it didn't go the way I thought it was going to go, but I made it and I'm doing it and it's real. And if I can do it, you can do it, kind of thing. I think people need to hear that more, even today, when there's a lot of negative and sort of down stuff that goes on. It's nice to hear people that are doing well and succeeding and getting through it by following a process and just taking step by step and knowing it's going to take some time.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, the trick with this, and I shouldn't even use the word trick, is just like you said, Jim, you take your time, you do things. If you are ready for that opportunity when it shows up, then you can take advantage of it. But if you're not, and we're all over the place and we think we're ready, but we're not ready, and then that's when opportunities get blown and you get really, really mad about it. So doing things in the right sequence, talking to the right people, get the right people involved, and being ready when those opportunities come around. That's the trick, man.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so we're going to close the show up, man. This has been awesome, just talking different retail stuff, different questions that we get in, and we will set up some more guests, some more shows like this. If you guys out there listening have any questions, anything that we want you to cover, just send that into. You could find Jim online, most of the social media sites, myself. Get in touch with us, jimdebetta.com. Send him a note, send him a review. Let him know how we're doing. It would be great to hear. You can get our podcasts on Google Play, iTunes. You can also go out to YouTube, to the Launch Network, where you can watch this podcast in full video. And we will catch you next time on Get Retail Ready with Mr. Jim Debetta. You all take care.